here's an interesting thing. When we decided to be that boutique firm, to make sure that we kept our supply low and our demand, grow our demand even larger, one of the things that I recognized with not scaling the company and making the company bigger, but rather saying, no, we're going to do what we do and just create a ton of value, is I knew that I had a limited number of years physically to do that. Now, I've been at this 28 years. I've been in the pool industry a long, long time. But knowing that I'm in the project, I don't know of too many guys that have stayed in the project, like physical labor every day, part of the project for that many years. Most guys build companies by sitting behind desks and creating salespeople, and the company grows that way. I've chosen the reverse. Instead, what I've done is I've stayed in the trenches, in the field. Well, as I thought about that and I looked through the long term, what happens moving out the next number of years, as a few years ago we went through this process of saying, realistically, physically, capability-wise, how many projects are left in me? And at that time, we figured it was in the neighborhood of 60 projects left in my career. And the reason being is we knew a number per year that we would do, but then the projects were growing in terms of size, in terms of scope, so the number of projects per year would have to go down. And we settled on the number of 60. We worked our way backwards, and I just sold number 45. I just signed on the dotted line. That means I have 44 projects left in my entire career. Now, if you could look at your life and say, I have this many before I'm done, it would change your whole perspective. And I don't think it would work for everybody, but in this particular case, it worked for me. Because I recognized, remember, small supply, huge demand. Now I'm creating the supply to be even smaller because I'm limiting the number that are left. It made it easy for me to say, that one doesn't quite fit, so that's a no. Or Sandy will say to me, are you sure you want that to be number 46? And then I can look at it and go, you're right, it doesn't work, it doesn't fit for what we want. Or, yes, I want that to be number 46, 45, 44, whatever the number is. That net result has allowed me to be very specific in my ask. What do I really want? And choose customers based on what I want the interaction to be, not based on what they want the interaction to be. And by limiting that, I know what's happening is as that number gets smaller and as our demand gets larger, because our demand is growing every year, not shrinking, our brand is getting much bigger every year, not shrinking, that as those numbers go down and the demand gets bigger and the supply gets smaller, the numbers can go higher as well. So we have exponential growth throughout the rest of my career by not doing more work, but instead by limiting the supply, but always working towards creating a larger demand. And that's what we've intended to do, is create that demand by making it everyone aware of us, by using our brand in such a way that we can grow our industry and ourselves. It creates much bigger demand, much smaller supply. And as we get down to number 10, 9, 8, 7, people start jockeying. I am imagining it. I'm predicting in my crystal ball into the future, people are jockeying for position. Because if there's only 10 left, you better get on board now. And I can see as we work our way down to those last few, that everybody that's ever wanted to work with us is going to be scrambling to try to get it in before the number is 0. So it's kind of an interesting way of setting a career path, but that is absolutely something that I'm sticking to. When I hit 0, I'm done. That's it. That number 1, and then I'm done with the pools. So knowing that, I can then plan my future from there. I'm not worried about what happens then. I'm living right now, worrying about right now, doing the things I do right now, not worried about in the future whenever those numbers get there. I just can predict as it gets closer to that, the craziness that our world becomes, because the supply and demand. And you play that supply and demand and just decide what it is you're going to do. And there's a lot of ways of doing it, but that's something I've chosen to do.